Hey, my name is Sakura Saunders, and I've been working with Prometheus for about the past 6 or 7 years. And at the Barnraising, I'm helping build the studio, and I also did a workshop on hosting radio shows.
Cool. And you were telling me just now about some specific experiences outside of WGXC that you were thinking of sharing with our audience about other projects that you've been working on.
Sure. Well, for a long time, I've been involved in the, media justice, media reform movement, particularly with Prometheus and building low-power radio stations for communities. But another thing that I've been involved with is allying with communities that are directly impacted by mining operations. In particular, I have a campaign against a Canadian gold mining company. And communities that are impacted by mining are typically poor rural communities and indigenous communities. And these communities, being rural and many of them being sovereign nations, are ideal for setting up radio stations without much hassles. So one way in which my work has transformed in the past year is I've started doing a lot of work building communities, or building community radio stations for mining impacted communities.
So why is community radio important? We're here obviously to build one in Hudson. It's going to be a full power station, and it's going to be going online fully within the next couple of months. But why is it something that people outside of this community need to know about?
Well, I really think of community radio as a community building medium. I've been the program director and volunteer coordinator of radio stations in the past, and we would have 80 people show up at each volunteer meeting, and we had over 100 volunteers and over 90 programmers in non-overlapping slots. And I've never participated in an organization that was able to meaningfully engage that number of volunteers. And as a result, the community radio station that I was a part of was a microcosm of the community. It also had an extremely diverse makeup of different people. And I felt very strongly that in the community I lived in, everybody knew somebody that was a part of the radio station. And I just felt like it was very much a community resource. So, when I would do a documentary screening, I'd advertise it on the radio station. I'd be able to get like 100 people to show up at my free documentary screening. And just it really did enable the community to come together on levels that were greater than just the community radio station itself. There were several record labels started out of our old radio station to promote the local music scene. We would promote shows and things like that through the radio station. It was just a really great resource.
And why do you think that there's something about that, the beauty of all that coming together and that microcosm that actually, the powers that be make it difficult to do this, at least, in places where you're not working with sovereign nations where maybe it's easier? It's not the easiest thing to get all this going. In fact, it's like a lot of work on the part of a lot of people. Why is that, in a nutshell?
Well, the radio in the States is governed by a bureaucratic system that really gave all of the radio stations away on a first-come, first-served basis, and now there's very little room left. And they gave these radio stations out for free to these broadcasters that through the airwaves were able to build up enough economic and political power that now they have a lot of say in how the rules are governed. So that doesn't leave a lot of room for new entrants. And of course, the business interests, the other broadcasters, they're the main force that's against new community radio stations from arising. And of course, they're afraid of competition. And they're also afraid that even though that they'll have more interference and things like that in areas where they're not necessarily protected in the first place. So big broadcasters, of course, don't want more competition. They have a lot of political and economic power, and unfortunately, that's all you need to stop something good from happening in this country.